Overwatch. Contact with anti-citizens. VizCon on heavy weapons. Request airborne. Recommendation. Helicopter takes like 40 rockets to kill and has infinite bombs. Obviously it's a game and you can't curb stomp the player in the first 10 minutes. But it's implausible how little force the Combine really used against Freeman. Like they knew the moment he got snapped by a scanner outside the train station that there was an undocumented human in the city. And they were able to have a team breaching the building he had entered within less than a minute. And within 10 minutes of that, Gordon is teleported to Breen's office, and so Breen is alerted that shit is serious. But it seems like the escalation of force completely stalls after that. A 1984-style regime like the Combine must have QRFs on standby for this very occurrence. And they're able to track Gordon's movements through the sewers with manhacks and a lone hunter chopper. So really, Gordon should have been facing multiple gunships and dropships full of white elites before he even reaches the airboat. I don't know, when I replayed it, it seemed like the Combines were really trying to get him mobilizing the entirety of Metro Cops to get him with the closest Metro Cops dying first, and so on. Also, consider that the entire game is happening in real time. My dude, they can literally teleport in heavies. What? Aside from the giant intergalactic teleportation thing atop the Citadel that takes ages to teleport a single person, and the semi-functional teleporter in the Resistance Lab, there are no other teleporters in the game. Combine teleportation is cross-dimensional only. A significant part of what got the Combine interested in humans is that they got close to figuring out point-to-point teleportation. You're forgetting the teleporter in Nova Prospekt, which was Mossman trying to recreate Kleiner finally making it work. I think it was paced accurately because historically speaking, an overwhelming force never thinks it needs to supply much danger close style warfare against what seems to be a minor insurgency. None of the resistance mobilized much prior to this, and it was more losses than victories. Once shit got serious, Striders came out en masse. Was a shame they didn't add the Hunters to that release though. Helly, the insane amount of bombs they can pack inside can kill any anti-citizen in a confined space. Aren't the Combine you fight in Half-Life 2 the lesser forms? Like they basically have infested the whole galaxy and can teleport. You're basically fighting the equivalent of Combine middle managers until the end. The Combine were supposed to have a Dyson Sphere in Half-Life 3, and even in Episode 2. It was said that opening the portal to the Combine's main forces would lead to a war that would last like 7 minutes. Whoever the fuck is in charge of the Combine seems to make very heavy use of local forces. Metro Cops and Overwatch, supplemented by a few standardized patterns they send out to serve as heavy platforms. Striders, Hunters, etc. The Combine that conquered Earth came and went. What remains is pretty much just a backwater colonial garrison of native auxiliaries, with some material support, and since it's a bit ambiguous if they'd count as material. The Half-Life universe has so much keynote potential as a series, it's unreal. It's a product of quality world building, unlike some modern AAA titles that have literal walls surrounding the playable area with nothing but empty plains behind it. Nobody coming or leaving, an explicit indication to player that there's nothing there. And then it tries to convince you that you're in a real location on a much bigger world, while a quick glimpse down any long street reminds you of the opposite. Reminder that Valve outsmarted all its player base. You can kill the chopper that shot the missile, simply by not pointing the laser at it before the missile went past it. Then the missile will turn around and attack it from behind. So I remember reading about the Universal Union. That's the multi-dimensional alien empire, right? So what's the Combine? The client state on Earth? Like what the Afghanistan government was to the United States? Also, did the aliens actually get the Black Mesa teleport tech, or was it something they were working on but hadn't actually cracked? The only teleportation tech that the Combine has is interdimensional, incapable of traveling in the same universe. Mossman was developing a copy of the Rebels tech, but it was still in its infancy when Nova Prospekt was destroyed, and their official name is the Combine. Universal Union was just something Breen called them to make it sound more palatable. The Combine is actually a slur. It's like calling the Third Reich or the Greater German Reich Nazi Germany. Breen actually corrects one of his assistants when they said Combine instead of Universal Union. There's no racism under the Universal Union. We abolished that. Vote Breen. I think it's neat that Combine is such a bureaucratic nightmare of a regime that they genuinely cannot be fucked to oppress humanity harder than they already do, until Freeman shows up and Breen asks them for help. It's implied that Earth was just some backwater shithole that they decided to just use humans to policy their rule under the slugs. Until they found out they had dimensional teleportation. Then they started to actually take shit seriously. G-Man is an intergalactic real estate agent. He engineers the resonance cascade and observes Freeman being the main individual who successfully enters the Zen border world and unblocks it. He forces Freeman into a contract, which is the choice made at the end of Half-Life 1. Freeman is put in stasis. Now that Zen is unblocked, G-Man sells access to Earth to the Combine. However, the Combine pisses him off. Maybe the intensive resource extraction violates their agreement or whatever. G-Man reactivates Freeman to destroy the Combine, knowing that a human will be sufficiently motivated to do so. While Freeman is doing this, Half-Life 2 demonstrates that Freeman also thinks of G-Man as a villain as well as the Combine. G-Man kidnapped him after all. Half-Life 3 has to depict the defeat of the Combine and Freeman somehow defeating G-Man.
In the spell of the rolling rock and rhythm of the sea, rock and roll and rock along, like a sweet greeted with a song.